Welcome to the channel, everyone. Today, we will be starting a new dynasty on College Football 25 with the Akron Zips. As you can see here, it's not a very good history for Akron. It looks like only 8 wins one time, um, only 7 wins, I think, twice, and only few times that they've been over 500. Just going through different teams and kind of scraping the bottom of the barrel and seeing teams that aren't very good, you could definitely make an argument that Akron might take the cake as far as like the last decade as being maybe the worst college football team. Excuse me. Um, as you take a look here as we begin our big board for our prospects here. But going back to what I was saying, you look at all these colleges, and I've done Akron before, but it was offline, and I had a lot of fun with it. And I thought it would be fun to bring this team to a series, which I have my own headcanon about that I'll get into momentarily. But um, Akron is a team I just haven't seen anyone really touch as far as YouTube dynasties and stuff like that. They've done rebuilds with them, but like a full fledged dynasty and stuff. And I just thought it would be interesting. Um, with that being said, as you continue to see me scout here and pick up recruits, a lot more 3 stars who are interested in us than I thought, and that's great. With that being said, our coach goes by the name of Pat White. For those of you who don't know who Pat White is, if you're too young to know who Pat White is, go check the highlight reel. Probably my favorite college football quarterback ever. That's saying a lot because there's been a lot of greats off the top of my head. Some of my favorites: RG3 at Baylor, Cam Newton at Auburn, Vince Young at Texas. Um, Graham Harrell at Texas Tech, and the list just kind of goes on. But Pat White, I can confidently say, was my favorite quarterback to watch ever in college football. He played at West Virginia from 2004, I believe, to 2008. Um, with like I think like 2006, 2007 years really being like phenomenal. Like him and Steve Slayton were unstoppable. As you see me checking the roster here, I'll get back to Pat White in a minute, just kind of looking at what we have. CJ Nunnally is our best player. Well, he's tied with Lewis there, but you got Nunnally at the top. And those are literally the only 2 players that break the 80s, which is, it's not crazy considering the team. But anyway, Pat White played at West Virginia, played in the NFL for a little bit, had a freak concussion or injury that knocked him out uh, of pretty much ended his professional career for the most part. He went on to, I think he was with Washington for like a year. He went to the CFL, and then he started coaching. And right now, I think in real life, he's an offensive assistant for the Chargers in the NFL. But we decided, like, hey, in this canon, in this storyline, as you take a look at Darian Lewis here, our safety, and he is only a junior. Nunnally is a senior, but at least we have a possibility of getting Lewis back as we kind of go through other. Adrian Norton, deep threat wide receiver, has some decent acceleration, decent open field ability from what I can see here. But we decided to hire him at Akron. Carter, I am Mr. Carter, the athletic director here. We decided to reach out and bring Pat White in here because he had some ideas and stuff that we really loved. Um, and here we are, as he's going to take his first head coaching job ever here at Akron And here, as you see me looking here, quarterback is very important in this offense. So to explain my offense, we will be running an offense that I call the triple shoot offense. It is a triple option based offense with various looks from the flex bone to a lot of split back stuff to a lot of duo looks um, that sucks you in with a lot of um, option action, and then we try to throw the ball down the field. So it's very important to have an athletic quarterback in this system, or I don't want to say it's not going to work because it will work without an athletic quarterback. But to make it go the way that I want it to, we need an athletic quarterback. And as you can see here, Bullock and Brookhart are the two most athletic quarterbacks on the roster. Now you do have Finley, as you've seen me kind of taking a look at him. He's good and he is an impact guy. So just because he's not as athletic doesn't automatically disqualify him. Looks like Brookhart, he's an impact development as well. He's probably the future here. Probably not going to get on the field here in this first season, but definitely the future. But I have a decision to make at quarterback um, out of Finley and Bullock, but it's probably going to be Bullock. As Finley's only 1 point higher, but the athleticism of Bullock is going to give him the edge. And we will probably see Finley this season as well, but right now we're going to go with Bullock. And here we're looking at the running backs here. Simmons, Kellum, Williams. Not a lot to write home about if we're being honest. We run the ball a ton, and we definitely need more depth in this. Only three backs that I could really trust to carry the ball. Um, they're definitely lacking here. You can tell they seem to be a passing based offense because we have a absolute stable at the wide receiver position. But here, for the fullback, we're gonna plug Simmons. I think we're gonna plug Simmons in at the fullback spot, or I don't like to call it the fullback. I call it the B back in this offense. But you got to have an athlete there out of the flex bone. You got to have somebody who can carry the rock and really tote the peel because that really catches defenses off guard and it really makes the offense just flow better as opposed to a traditional fullback that most of the time is in there to block, which we'll still use, but we'll use in more blocking situations and stuff like that as opposed to getting carries. Unless we can find a really athletic fullback, which sometimes we do run into. But on this game so far, just with all the hours I put into it, I haven't really found anything but maybe one fullback in recruiting that, could actually run the ball and really do a good job at it. So a lot of times I just take one of my backs. Sometimes it's the best back on the team, and I put him right there just because that position does tend to carry the load a bit in this type of offense, which you guys will end up seeing as a fun offense. But just to kind of give you guys a rundown of how I operate in my dynasties, I play on Heisman with some small adjustments to the sliders. Um, as I'm going to get into some practice here a little bit. But play on Heisman. I adjust the sliders just a bit. Really, the only sliders that I tend to dabble with is the computer's coverage because if you play on Heisman, if you've been playing on Heisman since this game came out, you know that Heisman is particularly brutal when it comes to throwing the ball. The pass coverage is, it's crazy. So I think I put the pass coverage itself down to about 45, and the reaction time, I think I put down to like 42, but the interceptions is what I dropped down the most, which I think I have set at like 38. And that still seems to be too high because the computer just, they will intercept everything like on Heisman. So, especially in an offense like this where we don't always have the most talented downfield throwers, So those are the only adjustments. Other than that, everything else is the same. Um, I do have, my life is pretty hectic. I have 4 children. I'm married. I go to work 5 times a week. So I don't have all the time in the world to spend on the game. So I run 7 minute quarters. Shouts out to, the pioneers that I got inspired by to even like start this channel, but like Miles Dawkins and Flimlow, who doesn't do gaming as much anymore, but that's how I found Flimlow's channel. Shout out to Flimlow as well. And also Mr. Hurricane. And I know Mr. Hurricane does something insane, like he runs like 12-minute quarters or something like that to make it realistic. I get it, but I run 7 minute quarters, and with the type of offense and stuff that I run, if I ran 12-minute quarters, I'd be putting up 60, 70 points a game. So, um, and that's just way too long. I get bored playing 12-minute quarters. And I think 8 minutes is a good spot for me, but I dropped it down to 7 just because I'm trying to get these games done as quickly as I can. As again, I don't have the most free time. You'll also see simulating. There will be times I choose to simulate games, and you will also see times where I choose to only play offense or defense or whatever the case may be. As you see me here, I'm zooming in on these uniforms. So that's something I want to talk about. For you eagle eye viewers or the people who know college football, these are not the actual current Akron Zip uniforms. So that's something I want to talk about here. So this is actually an Akron team builder squad, which was created by the creator's name was it is, I should say, NCAA Sundry Mage. Created these unis. And there were probably like 4 or 5 that I really liked or found interesting, but these are the ones that I found to have the balance or kind of have what I was the most of what I was looking for out of some new unis. So with Akron, their current unis, they're good. I really like their base unis that they have now. The problem is that they don't have a variety. You have your gold helmet with the A logo, you have your white helmet with the A logo, and I believe you have your blue set like these here, like kind of your blue set like these, and then you have a white set, and I think you have a pair of gold pants, and that's it. Like there's as you take a look at the whites here, like those are like they're just clean. They're not too busy. But I'll get into more of the design here in a moment. But look, well, I could talk about it. You see the gold face mask, the gold trim on a blue stripe, the Akron script on the side. But there's definitely a lot more you can do with the Akron unis. And like I said, they have a good start, but you can do more. You go back to, I believe it was Mark Stoops when he coached here, and he really showed like a lot of what you could do with these Akron unis with the Z logo. And, I think they were branded by Adidas back then, but that same Z logo is actually on these jerseys. It's small, but it's on the jerseys. I wish it was on one of these helmets, but and I also wish we had the kangaroo logo, like the more updated, modernized version too. So initially, I wanted to create my own unis for Akron. I wanted to go in to Team Builder and build my own unis the way that I really wanted them to be designed. However, I have not been able to get Team Builder to work to save my life since this game came out. And it's a crying shame, dude, that EA dropped the ball so bad. Like all the love I have for this game, and it has some flaws, but there's not very many flaws to the actual gameplay to me. The flaws come outside of gameplay. So they nailed it in the two most important areas, in my opinion, which is gameplay and atmosphere. But one of the areas that they dropped the ball in, which was one of my biggest things, was team builder. I've been waiting for a team builder for the same amount of years we waited for this game to come out, and for so many people to not even be able to go in and design teams or anything like that, it was insane, or still is insane. Because I haven't been able to get past the all I can do is the information, and I haven't ever even been able to properly upload logos. And then when I go to the uniform, it doesn't even load that. So it's a shame. I couldn't create my own because that was the idea I had. Go create uniforms that I actually like so I could play with this team that I want to play with. But, I had a feeling other people had the same idea, and I went and found these. So with these, you have you know, it's some nice designs here. The split stripes on the side, the shoulders and the side, I really like. I really hate, and that's one thing I say, I hate the current Nike design for college football. Like the plain jersey with the stripes, the two stripes on the sleeve, is like it's a horrible design. It wouldn't be bad if one or two teams had it, but a lot of teams have adopted this design, and I think it's for the worse. Like Baylor, that those uniforms aren't. There were way better Baylor Bear uniforms in the past. I don't know why we're thinking now that this design is the wave, because it's not. And I'm sure a lot of the players will tell you the same thing. Like all these Nike teams that adopted that, off the top of my head, I know Baylor. I think Cal has adopted it. Um, they're ugly. Um, and I think Akron has them, but they're not so bad with the Akron design. Just how they put it all together. But it's a lot of these teams with these new Nike uniforms, and it's just like they look terrible to me. So to have this take on it with the split striping, I really like that. Um, on the helmet, there's a lot of details. There's like the small uh numbers on the front. I think they may be on the back as well. I'm not sure. Um, but the helmet striping that I already mentioned, the face masks um, are dope. And you have the A logo, which I actually like that modern A logo. So I'm glad they kept that. And then they put the script on the white helmets, and they put the script on the front of the jerseys, the accurate script um, on the front of the jerseys, which you know I do wish like for me there'd be more variety there. I'd have probably had Akron on one or two, and then maybe put Zips on one, or something like that, or you know Ruse on another one. I don't know, just kind of a change up, but the way that they are, they're still dope. Um, you can see the numbers pop with that shiny gold. Um, and then you have other unis that, for the first season, I probably will only stick to the basic two unis until I start kind of like getting into it. Um, and there's some other unis out there, or that made me pick this package, so to speak. You have a throwback, which all of the ones I looked at had a throwback option there. I'm not a huge fan of the Akron throwbacks, but I really don't care. Variety is variety. As long as I have another uniform to choose from, it's all good. Um, and the way that they did this particular throwback, I think, was maybe the best throwback I saw, in my opinion. And then we have a black one, which that one's very nice when you guys get to see that one. And then another version that I'm not really sure about Akron's uniform history, but I don't recall ever seeing them have gold jerseys, and that always bothered me. like why we couldn't get a gold jersey. But this set does definitely have gold jersey. It has a gold, all gold combo, which is pretty nice. The only thing that's missing, and one of the main things that I would have personally done, is the gold chrome. Like teams started going away from the gold chrome. It was like something that came around in like the 2010s. I think that teams started having these gold chrome helmets, and like to me, those things were absolute fire. Like Baylor had them, Wake Forest had them. I can't really think of anyone else, but Akron had them, and I thought those things. And actually, I think Baylor was the first team I saw with them, and I think Akron was the next. I think I seen Akron's even before um, Wake Forest, but I would have definitely put those back on. I would have had a uniform with those for sure. Like that was one of the things I was most excited for. Let me go make these gold chrome helmets here. Um, and none of the unis that I went through had those, which was kind of a surprise. So I guess I'm kind of in a minority when I say that I really like those helmets. But these uniforms are fire. That's the only reason that I decided to play with Akron is because I was able to find a uniform package that I really liked that could give me some variety. Because I get tired of playing with just the same uniform every single game, you know, with limited combinations. So, as we get into it, we will see more and more combinations here. As you see here, I'm going through the depth chart. And I will say on offense, I already spoke on the running backs. We need more depth there. Our offensive line is pretty bad, which is not good for this offense that I run. We need some big hog mollies up front that could pave the way. But on defense, our defensive line is definitely our strength. Um, we're solid on the defensive line. Nunnally, he's one of the reasons. And our linebacking core, as you see McCoy here, but our linebackers are weaker. I will say that. And I think that may actually be the weakest spot. That and corner, I think, could use some work. But I think linebackers are our weakest spot on defense. Um, but again, getting into my head canon, back into my head canon, I wanted to have some LeBron James branded uniforms. As LeBron is from Akron, I want to go in and brand, instead of the Nike brand, have LeBron James be the sponsor of our uniforms. And in my head, that's still what happened. As the AD here, we have been working behind the scenes with LeBron, putting together his first college football uniform, behind the scenes, been working for the last couple of years. Hired a coach that he really liked, and we're unveiling these uniforms this year and in the years to come. Kind of like how Jordan has his uniforms out there, and Patrick Mahomes just unveiled some of his branded uniforms for Texas Tech. So that's pretty cool. So that's my head canon. But again, hopefully you guys are going to enjoy this series. I don't have a set schedule yet on when I will be releasing videos. It's just kind of random because I just record and do them when I can. A lot of times I have children running around. I have things I got to do. So I'm just able to record these at random. So hopefully, though, I can upload 2 to 3 times a week to begin with, and we'll kind of see because I typically play these dynasties kind of fast. I kind of try to cram them in, and that kind of sets me apart from others here. As I simulated Ohio State, and we did a little bit better than I thought, or a lot better. We lost 24-6. We didn't move the ball well, but I simulated that one. I wasn't going to put myself through the pain of actually playing that one right now. So we went ahead and got that one out of the way. But we'll take a look at the stats here. But with that being said, I'm trying to build the channel here. Please like, subscribe, comment, especially you guys who saw my older series that I did have going here that's now defunct with ECU and Jayville State. We'll get back to something similar like that in the future. But I appreciate everyone who's watching, and I hope you guys really enjoy the content. And I will see you guys soon with the first gameplay commentary. This is Flyboy Carter signing out.